Well, as you guys know, Facebook Marketplace is where my paychecks go to die, and I just happened to find another one of these green abominations. So I actually picked this up from the same guy that I got that black Renegade from that I robbed all the parts off of for the Everest project. He wasn't too far into this one yet, it's just missing the seat and the front shocks. He did say he had a set of shocks there for it that he was going to try and dig out, and once he found those, was going to get back to me. But you know, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I don't know if I'm going to put it back together and try and run it as a whole machine. My idea was, when I got it, was just to, you know, have a spare chassis and some spare parts sitting around for the good one that's sitting over there. But depending on how bad this one is, we might just put it back together and run it. But we got to see if we can get it running first, if it's going to run. I did pull it over. It's got wicked compression just like the other one does. Yeah, and this is the sad part, the depressing part. She's not actually a 670, so this either is not the original hood or is not the original engine. Heart sank just a little bit when I popped the hood and saw that red top. I was really hoping to see some purple in there, but hey, at least it's not a 470. I'll take a 583. They seem to be pretty damn decent motors. Clock's reading 3,400 miles. I have no idea if that's accurate or not. He said it had 165 PSI on both cylinders. I didn't put a compression gauge on it, despite my past experiences. I probably should have, but like I said, pulled it over and it pulls over and it's got insane compression, just like the other one does. So barring any electrical problems, I think we'll have a runner here. I'm sure if anything, that CDI box is probably going to be a pain in the ass, but let's get this thing a little bit cleaner so we can work on it a little bit easier, and then we'll take a little bit of a closer look at it. Not sure if you guys know this or not, but back in the 90s, Bombardier offered these snakeskin cans. Right up there with MBRP and Jaws performance-wise. That's good quality factory parts right there. Really don't see too many of those around anymore. Well, found part of the seat, I think. Looks like part of the seat. Looks like we got a factory toolkit. Don't have the tool roll that it comes in, but hey, we'll take it. Kind of looks like this pipe has definitely seen better days. I see this has Michigan trail permits on it, so I'm sure this was either trailered or just ridden up there, and I feel like a lot of sleds that come from Michigan get a lot of salt damage, and that's what this is. I mean, you get road salt, stuff like that, snow coming through the vents in the hood, rots out the front of the pipe. Would have been nice to take this out and pressure wash it, but it's so damn cold outside already. I already got all the water turned off at the house, on the outside of the house anyway. So we'll just do what we can out here for now. We got what appears to be the remnants of an old beehive here. Just scrape that off, I suppose. And you know, I think while we're over here, we're just going to go ahead and pull the pipe and get down in there and clean all that stuff out of the bottom. And then I want to take the carbs and the airbox off too, just make sure that's all cleaned out in there, so if that engine is good, we're not sucking any crap into it. Oh yeah, there's like 50 pounds right there. Alright, so that's probably clean enough for now. Let's take a closer look in here. I'm guessing that this was originally a 583 and this hood is just off a 670. Those engine mounts down there don't look like they've ever been touched. I got some paint flaking off the head, so I mean this thing maybe overheated at one point, or that could just be from, like I said, if there was road salt in the snow that was coming in through the hood, that could have ate the paint off. We got throttle cable disconnected there. Belts off. Looks like the hack canister is coming out of the airbox, but it doesn't look like the airbox has ever been out. We got the key sitting over there. Key switch is undone. The handlebars at one point, I don't know what's up with that, but got a slice through the bar clamp there, so I'm not sure if they just couldn't get the bolts out, but a lot of interesting stuff going on here. Got some wires down there with electrical tape on it. Judging by everything that I'm seeing here, I'm willing to bet this thing probably has or had some sort of electrical problem. Probably not going to have spark. Let's pull it over real quick and just check compression again. So when I say check compression, I don't plan to put a gauge on this thing because just, hang on a second here. Yeah. It's got compression for sure. Let's go ahead and get the airbox off. Yeah, dirty back in here as you would expect, but otherwise not too bad. Probably can't see too well into the carbs there, but the throats are relatively clean. A little bit of debris in there, but we'll pull those out and clean them if we have to. Let's pull plugs and check for spark. Give her a shot of PB Blaster and slowly pull it over. So before we check for spark, I'm going to unplug the tether switch, and then I know I have a key for this thing sitting around here somewhere, but I will be absolutely amazed if this thing has spark. I just gotta figure out what to do with the key. Alright, I turned the lights off for you guys. Hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit better if it does spark. Let's give her a couple pulls and cross your fingers. I have zero confidence. I'm like almost 100% positive this thing's going to need a CDI box. You guys see it? I can't see this side behind the coolant hose there. I saw it. Clutch side was definitely sparking. Oh yeah. Good healthy spark on both sides. That's crazy. And like good quality CDI boxes for these things are like 150 bucks. I did see like a couple of Chinese makes that were like between 20 and 40. So I don't know. Those might be worth it in the future if I do need one. Kind of wouldn't mind just buying one to have on hand, but hell, I'll take a stock one though that works good. So all right, let's just shoot a little bit of lube and fuel into the carbs and see if we can get it to pop off. Although I suppose I should probably at least set the pipe back in there though too. A little bit of lube, a little bit of starting fluid. See what she does. Well, I'll take that. Well, that's just a beauty of a sight, isn't it? Well, that just kind of made my day. Not too often you come across a running sled for 500 bucks. So I suppose let's keep working on it. This video isn't that long yet, is it? Might as well keep going. I am all out of the right size of fuel line that I need, so I got to order some more of that before I do anything else with the carbs and whatnot and actually get this thing running and idling. So for now, since we know that she's at least gonna run, let's keep polishing this turd. Well, I haven't touched this thing in the better part of, well, 2 months now. I was looking for some reasonably priced shocks and a seat and other stuff like that, so did happen to find a couple things. Let's get them put on. Well, shocks are off of an S chassis, but should work just fine. I believe they're the same 13 and a half inch ones, so let's find out if they do fit. Well, naturally those went on a little bit tougher than I thought they would, but they're on there, so let's get her dropped on the ground and see how she looks now. I feel like that's actually sitting up higher than the other Summit does. Maybe it's about the same. Yeah, those shocks must have a little bit of life left in them. It looks like it's sitting pretty good now. Well, just for reference here, this one's sitting about an additional 4 inches off the ground because of the dollies. Let's see where the front bumper sits here. That's looking... top of the bumper is about 21 inches. So, quick math, 21 minus 4, that's 17, right? And what are we on this one to the top of the bumper? Looks like we're about 17 and a half-ish. 17 and a half, so this one actually might be sitting about a ½ inch higher. That could be due to the sagging suspension in the back, but who knows. Well, there's the seat. Not the worst thing in the world. Picked it up off Facebook for 50 bucks and it's like brand new. I was gonna go with a single seat, but then I found this thing and thought, you know, it might be nice to have something that the wife could hop on the back of if she wants. I could take it ice fishing or something like that. So, couldn't really beat the price and the condition, so that's what we went with. Now that we got this thing sitting up off the ground a little bit higher, I think we can go ahead and pull the carbs off and get those cleaned up. I'm going to use these carburetors to do a comparison video between a couple different ultrasonic cleaners that I have. I'll spare you guys that process since you've seen me clean so many carbs already, but if you want to check out that video, it will be up on the channel as well. Well, the carbs turned out fantastic. That ultrasonic cleaner is no joke. I was going to go ahead and do a hack delete right away, but don't have the proper jets here or enough of the proper jets here to rejet both carbs. So we're just going to piece this one back together for now. I'm sure it's failed. These things typically fail. I mean, these sleds are all almost 30 years old now. These things failed a long time ago, and when they do fail, they typically fail rich, so I'm sure that one's not going to be any different. But if we have any hope of this thing running semi-okay without new jets, we got to put that back together and get it on there, which, I mean, at this point it is pretty much put back together. Just had to replace a couple of lines that I broke pulling the carbs out, but had enough old fuel line laying around here that we should be good to go. But I think while we're here looking at this, we could at least cover the hack delete process. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, this little canister right here, this is the hack or the high altitude compensator. You really only need one of those on a machine if you are riding out in the mountains and frequently changing elevations, you know, changing more than 2,000 feet at a time. This makes it so you don't have to rejet your carbs every time you change elevation. But just in case anyone's wondering watching this video, if you do want to delete it, all you would do is remove your vent lines up here. Those two ports on each side of the carb, you can just put small length of fuel line on, vent down towards the bottom of the carb, because again, those are just vents. And then these ports that go into the bowls, you'd have to put a cap on. If you have these black caps, those work great. Otherwise, what you can do is just take a chunk of fuel line, cut it real short, heat up one end, pinch it closed, and then stick it on there. That works fine as a cap too. And then there is a screw in the throat of each carb that needs to be removed. So this screw and that screw you take out. So as far as jetting goes after a hack delete, on your mag side, I'd run a 340 main, 40 pilot. You can use a stock needle and needle jet run clip position too. Everything on the clutch side has to be a little bit richer. So I'd probably go with a 350 main, 50 or 60 pilot jet, and then number 3 position on the needle. At least that's what I've been using on my other machine, and that one's pretty much dialed in now. Although that one has the smaller carbs on it, so when we rejet this one, it might be a little bit different. We'll just have to play around with it and find out. But that should be a good starting point anyway, if anyone's trying to do this, but just gonna have to run the machine, check your plugs, and change it from there. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's go get these things reinstalled. Alright, well, the carbs are in. Can you tell they were cleaned? Kind of a stark contrast there between the rest of the greasy mess. But the hack's just kind of sitting back there right now. Normally that gets tucked into the airbox, but for now it's fine sitting there until we get her running. Let's go take a look at the fuel tank. There's not too much left in there, so I don't think I'm really going to drain it. I think I'm just going to try and dilute it and hope for the best. Probably not the best thing to do, but we'll see what happens. Normally I try and take these out very slowly and carefully if I know a sled's been sitting for a while, because they usually get rusted real bad all the way down to the bottom, so I try and take them out real slow and try and not knock any of the rust off. And I know for a fact this one's rusted real bad, so we'll do our best to take that out slowly and carefully. Yeah, that smells just awful. So typically what I will do with these is try and don't want to cooperate with me. Now we're getting there. Yeah, try and just get those to break off like that, and then that way I can at least still use the cap and not have to worry about all that extra crap falling down in there. I suppose at the very least we could set a pipe and a silencer in here. Now of course the primer's not working, so we're going to give her a couple of shots of some mixed fuel right down the carbs. I'm guessing we'll have to do that a couple times, but let's give her a few pulls and see what happens. And naturally the key just broke off in the ignition, but broke off in the on position, so that's all I really care about, I guess. Let's rip it and see what happens, I guess. Holy shit! Wasn't really expecting that. Well, I hate to keep you waiting, but seems like we have a recoil problem now. I think the rope frayed just enough that it is binding in the housing. So let's pull that out of there and see if we can put a new rope on it. Oh yeah, 100% that's what it is. Let's try that again, hopefully with less shoulder dislocation this time. Well, I guess we'll revisit this when I get some recoil rope. Found some rope that should work as recoil line for now, but in the meantime got a couple other problems going on here. Looks like I have oil backfeeding into my fuel pump. I did notice that when I put the throttle cable and oil cable on there that I had the oil cable a little bit tight and the arm was kind of hanging open, so I don't know if that was from me, because I didn't originally notice that. So I don't know if, like I said, if that was from me having that cable a little bit too tight or if the seals are gone in the oil pump and it's just straight leaking down now. But either way, I think that's why we're having such a hard time starting right now. But if we dump a little bit of fuel down the plug holes, watch what happens. Which, yeah, I guess we did kind of already know that. We did get it to fire earlier in this video. I mean, for me, that was months ago, so I kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. But, I mean, that's proof enough that it's going to run. So with that in mind, I'm just kind of trying to figure out what to do with it. It's going to take some significant cash to get it to the point that it's actually rideable. It's still obviously, you know, it's got some potential, but for what it is, I don't know if I really want to put another 500 bucks into it, especially considering these things do not sell well. At least in my area here, I'd be hard pressed to get $1,000 for it. You know, even when they're in that condition there, like that one's pretty much damn near perfect, and you know, I see them pop up on Marketplace, they're going for $600-800. So I don't know that it's really worth putting this one back together to try and sell it. So I'm kind of gonna leave it up to you guys. If you would like to see more of this thing and you actually want to see it get back on the snow and, you know, get to the point that it's a fully functioning running machine and it's sitting here idling, if you guys would watch that video, I'll happily make it for you. But if it's something that you're not too interested in, then I don't think I'm gonna put the time and money into it. I think, you know, it'd be nice to just have this thing sitting in the corner for parts for the other Summit there. So Based off of how the other revival videos are doing, we'll say if this gets somewhere around 3,000 views, we'll go ahead and do a part 2 on it, get everything back together and fully functioning, and take her out for a test ride. But if there's no interest in it, then probably just not going to happen. But plenty of other stuff to work on. One last little tip for you here. If you are worried about the seals in your oil pump or think you got a bad pump that's leaking, just go ahead and throw a Sharpie mark on your oil tank at the level that it's at. Let it sit for a day or two, come back and see if it's down from that level. That'll let you know if you got a leak going on. Well, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Sorry this thing's not sitting here idling in front of you right now, but sometimes that's just the way she goes. But if you do want to see a part 2, drop a comment down there, let me know, and if we get up past that 3,000 view mark, I'll find a way to make it happen. And with that, I suppose we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.